Kill Team is finally here, but how much value is it really for us? Today we're going to break down the new Kill Team starter box. We're not going to talk too much about the rules, but we're going to get into the nitty gritty of how the terrain works and also go over the values of everything that comes in here, because man, let me tell you what, this box is both mighty in weight and girth. It is ginormous. The box itself is very, very heavy. Like if you're ordering this from mail order, do not be alarmed when it comes to your house, because it is ridiculously heavy. Now, a couple things to note real quick. Designed in the UK, but made in China and distributed by Games Workshop. And you're going to notice that here in a second once we open it up. And, you know, there's been a lot of conspiracy theorists and stuff out there saying a whole bunch of different things about, oh, they're only putting stuff in here that doesn't sell and blah, 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 blah. And there's some reasons that may not be true, but there is also some reasons to why this is a good value for us as a consumer, but also Games Workshop. $130 US out the door will get you this box set here, and it comes with all this great stuff. It's going to get you a bunch of terrain, and we're going to do the breakdown on this and kind of explain what's going on with this new Sector Imperialis terrain set. Remember, we got the Sector Mechanicus, now we got these, and then we got the other ones with like the crates and things. So it's all it's all crazy. There's so many different words and so many different terminologies out there. It's kind of hard to keep up with. Oh, Sector Munitarium. Those are the crates and the cranes and things like that. So in this, you're going to get your 208-page Kill Team core manual, which is also the same exact one you can buy separately for $40, same week. So if you don't want to get all the cards and everything, and you just want to buy the core book and the data cards, you can do that. And I'll explain why there's advantages and disadvantages to buying this box. A 22 by 30 inch fold out game board. Now this one folds down to the actual depth of the box, which you're going to see here in a second as well. Unlike the Killzone Mechanicus terrain, which has to, because the box is like half the size, so it has one more fold in it when you get it. But that one too is the same exact size, and it actually connects to the road section right here in this one. So if you get both of those pieces of terrain, you can butt them up long ways against each other. It's going to come with 36 Universal Tactics cards. You're going to get your 10 Mechanicus Tactics cards, your 12 Gene Stereo Tactics cards. Those are ones that specifically for these kill teams here, and that's kind of the only way to get it. Very similar to Necromunda and Blood Bowl and things like that we've seen in the past. It actually uses the same kind of setup of dice wise as well. You're gonna get your dice back, your range ruler counters, because it's actually important to mark, you know, who's moved, who's ran, all that stuff. Plus, you're going to get your box Scutari, you're going to get your box Neophyte Hybrids that normally go for $40 each US right there. So we've already got 120 just in what I mentioned, actually more than that, 120 plus 15 for the data cards. So you're looking at 135. We haven't even talked about terrain yet in this box here. Once you flip it, oh, I told you this is a heavy one. This is a beefy. You're going to open it up, you're going to notice a lot of things real quick. Once we open this up, this isn't how it's going to come. It's going to be all sealed into different compartments and things, but you will notice some things right off the bat. First off, let's talk about the cards, just because they happen to be on top. So there is a separate data card pack that you can buy for $15, and this separate data card pack is great if you just want to buy the separate rule book and the separate data cards, just so you can get the basics down and play. You won't have any of the extra, you know, faction specific cards right here. And this is kind of like those expansions that Games Workshop is going to be coming out with, I would imagine, over the next couple weeks throughout the quarter, just to, you know, get some stuff out the door and keep supporting the game here, right? This is literally nearly, I don't want to say literally, I would say nearly the same exact thing that comes in this, right? So you're going to get you, and they're actually labeled the same exact thing. Well, maybe I misspoke, but they are packaged the same exact right there. This is the Universal Tactics cards right here, and then same exact thing right here. You're also, these are all blanks. You're not going to get quite as many blanks in this set here. So this is these are basically the same things, except for they include these Gene Stealer and Mechanicus cards in here, right? So you don't need to buy this if you get the starter set. So don't go out and buy that and think, oh, hey, I need that right there. The only thing you get in here is some more blank cards for your roster, so to speak, right? So that's out of the way right there. And then, of course, you get the rulebook itself, and we'll break that down here in a second because that's going to be super important. And now we get to the nitty-gritty of the box. And I'm sure you've seen some unboxing videos and stuff already, and that's all great, and they're all out there and stuff. This is all stuff we've unboxed in the past, except for the new terrain sets right here, the Sector Imperialis stuff. But take a look at this. It's all colored, right? So this isn't, you know, all those conspiracy theorists and stuff out there that are like, oh, Games Workshop's only put the stuff in here that doesn't sell or whatever. Well, that might not be the case, because this, these kits here are a different color, and this is made in China. So it's not like they're unboxing their boxes in Nottingham and restuffing them into this and all of those things. You know, it's not like that. Like, this is a completely different run of stuff as far as I can tell, especially because of the different colors. Now, that being said, the material between, and I've already cut some of these up and played with them, the material between these two sprues is different. The terrain is a harder, clunkier plastic, whereas this material here is more akin to like the Shadespire kits and stuff like that. And if you've gotten any of the Battle for Vedros stuff, very similar to kind of that. It's still the high quality multi-part plastic, and it, you know, retains that great detail, but a little bit more quality right there, whereas this stuff's a little bit chunky, a little bit cheaper to produce, because it's a big undertaking, you know, anytime doing these sprues. And people always weigh in on these videos, and they're like, blah blah blah, you don't know anything about, you know, the cost of developing a plastic injection mold, and it's very cheap now. And I'm like, I don't know about that. To get this stuff made, it's actually very expensive, believe it or not. So the fact that they, you know, just spin up and run however many crates of these things in one run is fortuitous for them, but they have to continue to crank out that many. So sometimes, you know, that's why the stuff goes out of print, because it's not worth it to them demand wise. Now, what I do like they started doing about these box sets is they put these protector little posters, and you can take these out and, you know, hang them up on your wall and stuff, but really, in my opinion, they're designed to protect the booklets and things from getting the sprues kind of digging into them as the boxes shift and come across the ocean and stuff. So that's pretty neat to see that they're really putting a lot of time and effort into it. They give you some plastic bags for your tokens, and of course your bases right here for your models. And then you get to the rest of the stuff here, which is the sprues, and we'll talk about that. And then there's an even more protective layer underneath that, which is super nice, so you won't get your books all dinged up, because if you're buying this for a $40 book, you don't want to have it all jacked up. You get your dice pack down here, and these seem to be pretty good looking dice, nice square edges for the most part. I'm really digging these. Excuse me, I really like the dice that came in the Soul Wars box. Those seem to roll really well. They don't have quite a square of an edge or not, but we'll roll those here in a minute. Your little whippy stick, tape measure thingy mabobber. And here is the board, which is on the bottom and protected through that other piece of card. Remember, it's the same length as this box set. It doesn't have that extra fold in it like the one that comes in the Sector Mechanicus, the Killzone Sector Mechanicus box does. So that one's going to have an extra fold, but they do line up and they are pretty cool. This one has two sides that are exactly the same. It's that Sector Mechanicus city tile, kind of faux city tile, but it's all graphicked out and really cool. They spent a lot of time on this. It's very well done. I was very impressed with it. 22 by 30. I don't know. Comment below on what you think that measurement lines up to. Like, I'm not really sure. I've been racking my brain as you know, after I measured it and read it all. It's actually 22 and a half by 30. They don't mention that, but there's definitely a half an inch in there. I measured it all out. Then you get to the terrain sprues themselves, and this is a whole thing. And let's talk, let me get this all unboxed and let's talk about that, because I really like how they. All right, now this is the really cool thing. So Games Workshop put out this new terrain, and everybody seems to be really interested in this new terrain because it's pretty cool looking and it's kind of groundbreaking. It's, you know, it's a very, very well detailed, unlike anything we've kind of seen in the past from them. I mean, yeah, the Sector Mechanicus stuff was cool, but it was more like that whole like refinery feel, and this is all like a wrecked city kind of feel. So this is cool. This is dope. It's gonna replace all that older stuff from, you know, 8 years ago that has come out, and we'll probably never see much of that ever again. So if you see it on the shelves and you've been, you know, itching to pick up some of that, I would definitely recommend doing it, because the writing's on the wall for that one, right? So these sprues, there's actually 6 total sprues that are different throughout all of these kits so far that have come out. You're gonna get 8 sprues in the Kill Team box, which are kind of a smattering of kits, right? So you're gonna get enough that you could actually say that there's 2 Administradium kits in here. you're going to get an extra ruin sprue. Which, when I say ruined sprue, I basically consider this whole thing one sprue because that's how big the other ones are. A ruins kit comes with 2 of these, which we're going to show you here in a second. Now, all this is the different color, the normal stuff, the normal colored stuff that comes in individual kits is going to be this gray that we've come to know and love, right? So this is literally the same thing. It's just in this box set, it is this tan color, which is fine. No big deal. So there's 8 sprues in here. You're going to get an extra sprue, which is really 2 sprues cut off of ruins, and you're also going to get an extra sprue of the basilicanum, right? And it's basically a column and an archway sprue, which I might have casually cut that one. Oh no, this is one right here. So that's this one right here, which is going to also come in your basilicanum. You're going to get one of these. And it's kind of like everything piggybacks off of each other when it comes to these kits, right? So the basilicanum is kind of a misnomer, and we'll show you that as we unbox it in a different video. But it's going to be everything that's in this kit, including this sprue and a statue sprue, right? And then there's the sanctum is kind of like a reverse where it's going to have another sprue. But we're not going to talk about that right now. So these sprues... These are all your ruins sprues. So this is either a ruins box or the other box here, which is... Oh, I cut one up already. That's why. Okay, and then we've got this extra sprue. All right, so the detail work on this is great. Now, I had heard them say something about that this stuff could be snapped together and unassembled and reassembled, similar to how the Sector Mechanicus terrain... while not doable in the long run, you could kind of pop it apart and kind of socket it back together. I messed around with some of this terrain, and that is not the case. Now, this is probably the most detailed terrain we've seen. Far, way far above all of that Age of Sigmar junk we saw back in 2015 first come out. Like, that terrain is good, and it looks good, and it looks good all painted up in all the pictures. But let me tell you what, you get your hands on this kit, you're going to be kind of disappointed. I won't lie to you, because that's not what we do here. We keep it real here. We're going to call a spade all day, every day, no matter who's making it. If we get our hot little hands on it and we want to talk about it, we're going to give you the real truth. We're not just going to be like, okay, yeah, it's cool. Okay, yeah, it's cool. Okay, yes, yeah, that's what keeps us separate from everybody else out there, right? So this terrain, while very well detailed and head and shoulders above anything we've seen in the past, you're going to have to glue it all. It's not going to snap together. But that being said, it's the closest thing to like Legos that we've ever come to because it's very, 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 very modular. And it's really neat to kind of just play around with it. So let me give you an idea of how that all goes together, right? Because I opened up some of the sprues and I was kind of tinkering around with it. So there's kind of some universal building blocks, so to speak, to this terrain. And we'll just use these examples right here. It pretty much doesn't matter if it's 3 stories or 2 stories. It's all going to be about the same. So you're going to have a floor section. You're going to have a corner section with like a column. And then you're going to have like a support section. And then you kind of have to do some stuff here at the top, right? And these are all, they all have little notches. And you're just going to kind of socket them together. But it's very loose. Like, you are definitely going to need to bring your glue and glue some stuff together right there, which is, I mean, I guess it's par for the course. No big deal. That makes sense. This is a hobby. And then you'll see kind of here where this is going. Like, this is a kind of like an end piece, right? Because you see the notches right here. So this could go here, and it fits, you know, nice and flush. I mean, once you trim the mold lines off. Or you could curve it. You can make it go like this, or you can make it go like this, or you could go off at a weird angle if you wanted to. I mean, technically, there's nothing stopping you. I don't know why you would, but yeah, you could flip it around like that even if you want it. So once you get that in place and you kind of get your vision together, you know, and there's archways and stuff like I just showed you and all sorts of different things. And I'm sure they'll come out with some expansions and such, and it'll be pretty neat. But once you build up to your floor, whether it's a second story or whether it's a first story, that's when it gets really interesting and you get all these different options. Now there's some single squares and there's some double squares, but all of the flooring seems to have this kind of socket system underneath it, very similar to what we saw with the Sector Mechanicus. And what that's going to do is you're just going to socket it with the corner here, and then you'll notice that you have to do something about all of this, which isn't that big of a deal because there's these adapter type pieces, right? And you can do different things with them depending on what your intentions are, I guess, so to speak. So you can kind of cap it with this other piece here if you want. Well, once we get it kind of locked in. So, and we start to form that stop sign kind of little symbol, right? So that's how you know you're doing it right. So when that kind of locks together. And then there's different other pieces in here too that will fill that all around. And then if you really want to, you can do this 2-part little busted column that sockets together, and then that will go right over top of it if you're not going to attach the ruins pieces, because once you do that, you can actually take the ruin sets, which are the smaller ones, and those actually socket right onto the bottom there, forming, you know, basically a third floor wall that doesn't lead to an actual third floor. And then say you want to extend out your floor, well, they've got these little joiner pieces similar to what we saw in the Sector Mechanicus. They are loose, you are going to have to glue them, but they basically, you know, take the guise of like a little light that's either wrecked or whole, and then it just sockets right in there, and it gives you that support for another piece out here if you want or whatever. So it's really neat, the building blocks. Let me show you the instruction manual for all this, just to give you an idea of exactly how it all works. So here's some of the column stuff that you can see, and like I said, you just you can add walls, or you can just do corner pieces, whatever you want to do. And then here's like some of the columns that go over the top, right? Or you can even do it underneath, like if you want a piece, the little light piece can socket underneath it. And there's these little corner pieces, and all this stuff will basically cover up those gaps around the column posts, right? So that's pretty neat to see. Like, they got it all figured out. It all sockets together. It's very modular. It's the closest thing we'll ever get to kind of like, you know, Legos. And then once you form your floor, you can put those ruin sections right on top, or you can go with something like this and just skip and do a second story, which is pretty neat. So I really like that. Now, let's jump into a brief overview of the rules. So the rest of the stuff that comes in the box here is gonna kind of round out the rest of the set. You've got a quick start guide right here, which is really good. I really like it when they include quick start guides. So you're gonna want to start there for sure. Then you've got your 2 little mini faction booklets on the particular, well, I guess the Gene Stealer cult that comes in here. Just giving you a little bit of flavor. There's really nothing in here like rules wise. They're just kind of telling you about those particular factions and maybe trying to get your hobby juices going and getting into that stuff. Then there's token sets which punch out, and for each faction right there, you got the Mechanicus ones, and then of course you got the Gene Stealer cult ones, which are really neat. And then you've got your 210-page Kill Team Rulebook. Now, truth be told, there's only about 20 actual pages of rules in here. You are gonna get some extra stuff, like some extra advanced rules and things for like terrain, and that's probably gonna help you out because most people are gonna have this terrain and want to play with it, right? And then it goes into picking your kill teams and all your upgrades and all your campaign kind of stuff. So the mechanics of the game is actually pretty simple. It's the really engrossing part for all of your, you know, different factions and stuff to really get you in there and get you playing and, you know, get you all kind of hyped up and get those hobby juices going. I mean, at a smaller scale, you know, smaller skirmish scale, why not? Because it's really easy to paint up 10 dudes to a really high quality level and have some fun. Now, when it comes to value, we've already talked about the books that come in here. You're going to get the Kill Team Core Manual, which is $40. You're going to get the 2 squads of Duders, which are $40, and the Kill Team cards themselves, which is $15. So you're already $135. You're $5 to the plus right off this, you know, the MSRP right off the deck. Then you're going to get the 8 Sprues of Terrain, which we showed you a bunch of that already. That ends up breaking down to 2 sets of Administratum, which are $50 retail each. And then you're going to get 2 extra sets of Sprues, which really don't correspond to anything. You actually get a set. This is one of the extra sets of Sprues you actually get in the set here. You're going to get one of these, and then you're going to get that one Basilicanum Sprue. But if you go off retail, these things are about $18 each. So that's going to get you up to about $136 retail value just in the Sprue. So whichever one you kind of weigh it on, the books and the material and the actual models or the terrain itself, you're already doubling up on your money right off the bat. That's not counting all the dice, the folding game board, your Universal Tactics deck that only come for these guys here, assuming they don't, you know, release it later on or anything like that. So either way, it is a good value, probably the best deal for getting into the Kill Team itself. because if you're going to buy this and you're going to spend another $15, and that's $65 just for the book and just for the data cards, you might as well just put the rest of the money with it and double up. I feel like is kind of the better value, but sometimes maybe you just want the Kill Team book. As far as the dice go, real quick, let's roll them up because they, woo, that wasn't bad. Well, we don't care about these D10s, but they seem not bad. They seem pretty well balanced. I'm always a little leery when I see, that's not bad, when I see opaque dice, but they look pretty cool. At least they're very matte, very dark, and kind of absorb the light there. A little mysterious little dice. I like them. So that's it for this one. Overall, I think Kill Team is a great value, but just make sure you're going into it with kind of your I guess your head screwed on straight as far as the amount of work that you're going to have to do on the terrain, even though it is a great value and this stuff's awesome. And it's very, very modular, right? So that's really cool to see. I'm really digging that. And of course, it's going to come with all the other figures and everything like that. So as far as starters go that actually come with a set of rules and a rule book, I think this is probably one of the best values out there for a game that will actually get played. The Necromunda wasn't so much of a value, but the fact that you got all the books and everything in there was a value. This is a value all the way around any way you look at it, whether you use the books themselves and the models that come in it, or whether you're just buying it for terrain. Either way, it's a win-win. It's going to be really interesting to see how well Games Workshop does with this particular product release, because I think they have the potential on their hands for something to be quite a bit of a runaway hit. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these type of unboxing and kind of value, kind of analysis type of videos. We love doing this stuff. We love showing you guys, if it's a deal or no deal, so to speak. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.